Welcome to the Action Shooting Show. I want to do a quick gear episode today. I want to talk about holsters, and we are going to talk about holsters mostly for run and gun, two-gun action challenge type stuff, and probably the tactical games as well. Although I've not shot one of those. I don't know all the rules and all the requirements, so keep that in mind. But I think this is going to be pretty relevant to that. USPSA, Steel Challenge, three-gun. Those are going to have a little bit different holster requirements. Generally, the first holster I go over, I'll say the least ideal for run and gun. Most of those will work fine. Generally, you don't want your gun falling out, but generally with those other sports, it's about getting the gun out of the holster quick as opposed to how well it's retained. So keep that in mind. So starting in the most basic, this is a clamshell Kydex holster. You'll see a ton of these. The gun goes in. Something on the Kydex, in this case it's on the trigger guard, kind of retains it. There's a screw to adjust how much that retention is. And you know what? That's pretty good. I mean, it's going to be hard, but you can bump that out. If your sling gets caught on your pistol when you're taking your rifle off, you could definitely pull it out. So this is an option. It is probably the least desirable, but you could run a match with this and not be afraid. One thing I would do if it was me and I was wanting a little bit more retention, so this is like another option of that with like a hanger on it. You could attach a piece of nylon shot cord from here over to here, and then all you have to do is flip that over your grip, and that'll keep it from popping out. You know, adjust your tension a little heavier, put that on there, you should be squared away. So again, this will work. You could find this for any gun under the sun. Someone out there is folding in their garage or their basement, is folding up a Kydex holster that will fit whatever gun, light, optic combination you want. These are very, very universal. Like I said, I guarantee someone's doing it because it's really easy to make one of these. So workable, maybe less than ideal. Next up, the rung. We are going into a hooded holster. This would be the first I would call active retention. So in this case, when our gun is in there, and it still has some retention like that other holster, it's retaining on the trigger guard. I can adjust that here. But I can flip this hood up, and now, until I hit that button, I mean, this is a Rock Island, this is a heavy, heavy pistol, that thing is not coming out. As soon as I hit that hood, that button, the hood goes up, pistol comes right out. So, again, that one thing that makes this a good option is, again, there's tons of people folding up Kydex holsters in their garage. They can buy this from probably more than one or two companies and make you a active retention holster. This one is one of the older styles that it's kind of spring-loaded. I think a lot of the new ones, your thumb pushes it down. Both of them are fine. But most of these active retentions either work off somehow off your firing grip. So in this case, when I'm reaching, my thumb's out, I just push down on that as I'm getting my grip, and that thing comes off, and I pull it. Works great. The downside is that when I have reholstered at the end of this, I have to take my other hand, or take a hand, and push this up until it locks. So if I hot holster in a match, I either got to leave this down until I get somewhere, or on the clock I got to flip it up. Certainly better than no retention, but you got to remember to do that, and you got to train for it. Active retention holsters, in theory, may take a little bit longer in practice. I think once you're used to them, it's just on your natural draw stroke. It's just, it's pretty natural. If you're doing like a scoop draw or something like that, maybe it's not. But I would say from most people that draw in like what I call a more defensive, like very trained, consistent, get that really good firing grip right off the bat, I don't think this is going to slow you down any. And if you really train well, there's guys doing drills with these just as fast. But I could see there may be a little bit of slowing you down. So the last two are the automatic active retention is what I'll call these. So the king of those, which you'll see a ton of out in running guns, is the ALS. So this is a Safariland ALS. The benefit of this is once I toss my gun in there, again, there's no way that thing's coming out, but the thing about it is that it automatically locked. I did not have to flip a hood up, anything like that. This is a cover for my optic, so you can leave that up or down. You could take it off if you don't want it. That's your choice. But it's in there until, I mean, it would take an act of God to get that out. But if you see, there's a little button right here. When I get my natural draw stroke, the thing pops right out. Super easy, super intuitive. Safariland makes another one. I forget the name of that, but it uses your knuckle. So when I'm reaching in to draw, this part of my knuckle would hit that and allow me to draw out. Nothing wrong with that one. Some of them make for the one gun, some they make for the other. That's a very good option. I mean, this is, I bet you would see more of these at a match, the QLS or the ALS, than anything else. And I mean, here's another one you can get. This is for M&P, an iron-sighted M&P. This one's got the extra guard here. You actually have a hoop as well. So on this, you've got to knock that down, and then your thumb hits that. All this, if you see one for a good deal, you can take all this off. That other holster came with all this stuff, and I took it off because this is more for police who are trying to keep people from grabbing and snatching their guns. So a couple layers of protection is what they're wanting. Generally for running gun, we don't need that. You can run it if you want. If you're a cop or this is your duty gun, run it the way you run it. But for me, it's not. I don't need it. So that's another option. These do get a little bit expensive. I think I got this on sale for under $100 on Amazon. So that's an option. This one was used. It was like a police trade-in from somewhere, and I think I paid $20 with shipping for a really good ALS holster. If you're a little more budget-minded, there is another option on the market, and I think a couple people make active automatic retention like that. Blackhawk has them for some guns. The Blackhawk Omnivore, which up until recently, Blackhawk was not... for the last couple of years, Blackhawk's not exactly been the go-to for stuff like this. But this Omnivore is called that because it works with a ton of different guns. This one retains off of the light. In this case, it's a TLR-1 HL. They also have them for the X300, the Surefire X300. And you can get one that's just got a little plastic or metal puck that attaches to your pick rail. So you have to have a pick rail. You have to have one of those lights or, like I said, an empty pick rail. But this thing still automatically active retained. Thing is not coming out. And again, I just got a button on my draw. I just make sure that my thumb pushes that down, and then I draw out. These are a really good option. They used to be, I haven't looked lately, they used to be about $50. The only gun I've ever owned that wouldn't fit one of these was a Hudson H9, which is kind of an odd gun. But pretty much everything else, I've run an M&P in this, I've run Glock, I mean, just you name it, you can fit it in here. 22s. The one thing I will give you as a caveat and something to look for, it depends on from the distance from your light to the trigger. So this is a 4.5-inch gun, fairly compact in that respect. Some of the longer guns with that, when you go to retain them, the trigger guard is further out to here, and with how wide this mouth is to fit all these different models, sometimes you can see the trigger and there's a little bit more exposed than I think is ideal. You've got to check your gun and light and holster combination. So it's something to be just pay attention to. I've never seen it so bad that I think it was a dangerous situation, but if you're running a 17L with a compensator and yada yada yada, it may stick out too far. 5-inch generally are fine, but that's the 5-inch guns is where I really start to notice it. So be conscious of that. Kind of check into that. That would be the downside to this one, is sometimes that trigger, if you got a real thin gun like a 1911 that's a little thinner, you may be able to see a little more trigger than you're comfortable with. So pay attention to that. So kind of an affordable option on that, but do your homework. I would say the big thing is just make sure you understand how your holster works, what level of retention you have, and just be conscious of that. And don't let your holster, as long as it covers the trigger guard and retains it fairly well and it's safe, don't let that scare you away from a match. Show up, shoot, and if you have questions, feel free to ask. And if not, I hope to see you out in the range.